Yet another shift in the housing market. Oh my goodness, it's never stopping. And so we wanted to hear from our handy dandy Colorado first time home buyer, Randy Bell. And Randy, you've brought a special guest here today, Landon.
I did.
Yes.
This is Landon Smith. He's with the Landon team in Start Real Estate.
Yeah.
Going to talk the market and what's going on with the market. We hear shift. Kenny just mentioned that.
Yeah.
Sure. What is a market shift?
Yeah, so it's a good question. And generally in a real estate market, you're going to have either a seller's market, a buyer's market, or a balanced market. For the past couple of years, actually quite a while, we've been in a seller's market. And right now we're just shifting into more of a balanced market. It's still a seller's market, but that's the high level of what that shift means.
Okay. So I got to ask you this question. Are we heading into a recession?
Every economist I follow, everything that I've read says yes. It's a matter of when and how bad it's going to be, but I do think we're headed to a recession. I don't think it's going to be too terrible.
Okay.
And I think it's going to affect different markets differently.
I have a question,
please,
Randy, because you are our expert here. You know all, and I think it's so awesome. You know, we're pretty transparent. You like bringing Landon in here to get that other side of the story, and especially with how fast things are changing. How valuable is his knowledge to someone?
It's phenomenal. He runs a very large real estate team. He's not only based in Colorado, but he also has a team in Texas. So Landon's seen a couple different markets at the same time. He's in Austin, which is one of the hottest markets in the nation. It's been crazy. Colorado.
Literally.
Yeah, literally hot. And that's really with the shift and possible recession. I mean, home prices, are they going to drop? I mean, dramatically? How's that work?
Yeah, and so we hear that a lot. People say, "Oh, prices are dropping," and I think there's a big difference between price drops and value declining. And so, if you think of somebody buying a house, last year it's appreciated at a certain say 20%, right? And they list their house today, their value's increased. They're going to shoot higher, right? So people see a list price come down, say $25,000. That doesn't mean that their value's dropping. It just means that they were shooting higher, and they're just dropping the price to try to get it sold. Does that make sense? So we have seen a correction in appreciation. So we've been at this massive double-digit appreciation for a while now. We're starting to see that come down to like the single digits, and so values, I don't think, I know values have not declined. I don't think they're going to decline. I just think the rate in which they're appreciating is declining.
It's going to go down a little bit.
And so price drops are just the listing prices being dropped.
What about a seller? I mean, if I'm getting ready to sell my home here in Colorado Springs, should I be alarmed? I mean, what do you need? What do you do to prepare a seller in a market that's shifting?
That's a great question, and I think one of the biggest things is we're seeing more inventory, so you need to make sure your home stands out. You need to make sure that your real estate agent knows your neighborhood, like at the very local level. You need to have conversations with your agent and make sure those expectations are set about, hey, days on market, it's not going to sell in a weekend. It might take 2 or 3 months, and that's okay. Don't panic.
Yeah.
Just because it's taking longer to sell it's not the end of the world, right?
Right.
And if there's any improvements or upgrades that you need to make to your house, there's plenty of companies out there that will loan you the money very cheaply to make those improvements so that you can make your house stand out.
Go ahead. I was about to say, we're probably on the same page.
We are, because Kenny is going to buy her first house. We've been out looking.
Yeah.
What advice would you give that first-time home buyer?
Competitive still? Very competitive, overbid?
I would say no.
Okay, that's nice.
I like it.
No, I think that from a buyer standpoint, just like I would tell a seller, don't panic. I think from a buyer standpoint, there will be some of that. And so I think there's some opportunities for a buyer to go in there and say, maybe get a little bit of a discount, maybe get some seller concessions to pay some closing costs, things like that. And for the last 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever it is, like there's been hardly any inventory to choose from. So you're starting to see more inventory, so you actually have a home to choose from. And you can go home and think about it. Do I want to make this decision or not? You can sleep on it. Haven't been able to do that for a while. And even with a slower appreciation rate, it's still appreciating. So you think you buy a $500,000 house using down payment assistance or maybe 5% down, and it appreciates 5% next year. That's $25,000. Like the ROI on that is crazy. So yeah, I think from a buyer's perspective, I still think it's a great time to buy.
Okay, that's
We
good
just got
to
to
know.
find you a house now. Let's go do it.
I know, we are. We are continuing to find our house. And really fast, I do want to know, how different is the market here compared to Georgetown, Austin?
Austin, Georgetown, I'd say it's very similar. And it goes back to the hyper-local, right? There's certain areas that are going to be hotter than others within a city, right? Certain neighborhoods. But all things considered, Georgetown or Austin and Denver are actually very, very similar markets.
Yeah, it's just booming all over the place. All right, well, thank you so much. I wish we had more time, never enough time here, but a lot of good information, and I liked hearing it from you as well. Thank you so much for coming to us, and we'll see you soon, Randy.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
hopefully we'll see you too.
Yeah,
then,
thanks for having me. I
Landon.
appreciate it.
All right, for more information, you can visit ColoradoFirstTimeHomeBuyer.com. This segment is sponsored by Colorado First Time Home Buyer. And